Can you see me now? Shalom everyone. It's Chaim Alevsky here, Chabad of the West Side, running in Central Park. I'm enjoying a beautiful day, but today's very special in other ways too. It ain't just the weather. Today is the second day of Tamuz. Tonight is the third day of Tamuz, of the Hebrew month of Tamuz, and it is the yahrzeit of the Rebbe, the 24th yahrzeit of the Rebbe. It's a very powerful day and a very special day, and I'm almost concerned about addressing it so as not to minimize the value and the message of the date. But at Sibele soll von dir werden, aber Chassidus sollst du chazeren. You could look for it. So, an excerpt, a summary of a summary of a summary of the Rebbe's mimer, the last mimer that the Rebbe gave out and distributed, edited and distributed to the Jewish people before his body physically left our earth. And it was the mimer of Tetzaveh. And what I'm going to tell you now is just something you can learn on your own, but a summary of a summary of Rabbi Yossi Paltiel's recordings on InsideChassidus.org. I want to give you that, and if I have a moment, I'll repeat a word from Shea Taub that I heard 2 nights ago at the Ohel. And I'm actually going to the Ohel in a few minutes, going to be there with a few thousand, maybe 5,000 others, celebrating Shabbos at the Ohel for Gimel Tamuz, and I'll have you in mind. But anyway, here's the story. What is the role of the Rebbe? The Rebbe pretty much encapsulates in the mimer, and it's long and detailed, but the role of the Rebbe is to connect the Jewish people to God. Now, everyone has a soul that is inherited. Every Jew has a soul, and within that soul there are many levels. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Yechida, generally speaking, is divided into 5 levels. And the Rebbe's job is to reveal that Yechida, the innermost level of the soul, and connect the person to his or her own soul. Now, how does a person connect to their own soul? Many different ideas about that, but that's the Rebbe's job. There are many stories about the Rebbe. People ask the Rebbe, what is your role? And the Rebbe said, every Jew has a soul. It's like a candle. I give you the match, and you light your own candle, which means to see that we have to do something in order to light our candles. We need to do something, and what do we do? How do we connect? The Torah says that the way we light our own candle is through Moshe Rabbeinu. In this week's parsha, not this parsha, in the last mimer, it was the parsha of Tetzaveh. And you, said God to Moses, to Moshe, Tetzaveh es bnei Yisrael, you should command, but the word Tetzaveh also means connect. You should connect the Jewish people to God. That's your role, said God to Moses over there near Mount Sinai. Your job is to connect the Jewish people. And how so? So in the Rebbe's last mimer, he gives 3 scenarios of 3 different Moshe Rabbeinus. The first one was Moshe Rabbeinu, the original. The second one was Mordechai the Jew in the time of Purim. The third, arguably the Rebbe was talking about himself in our generation. And in a nutshell, it goes like this. The challenge of connecting a Jew to God in an innermost level are different. They're different in different environments. In Moshe Rabbeinu's time, the challenge was godliness was revealed. The manna came from heaven, from that blue sky. The manna fell from heaven. The miracles were abound. So what was the problem there? The problem was a Jew really connecting to God internally, or was just that the culture of the time and the easy thing to do? Was it a personal avodah? Was there effort involved? So Moshe's job then was to reveal that and to create an effort and inspire the Jews to really connect, not just because they're already connected. Later on, it got easier. Sadly, to reveal that essence of a Jew, we need to dig very deeply. And that usually happens with Mesiras Nefesh, when the Jewish people are in trouble. And that's why when it talks about the lighting of the menorah, and this psukim, it talks about the olive oil, that the olive need to be crushed in order to extract the purest oil. So too, in Mordechai's times, the Jewish people were going to be annihilated, God forbid. And that awakened within them Mesiras Nefesh. So Mordechai's job wasn't that hard, to awaken within the Jews an internal strong bond with God, because they were fighting for their lives. So it's a lot easier. Then comes our generation, in stark contrast, where we have everything. We've got everything we need. Nothing's lacking. Every kid has a $1 million cell phone in their hands. And seriously, everyone has, we live in an abundance that's unprecedented. So what could someone be lacking now? So here's the challenge, says the Rebbe. So although we have everything, the Rebbe's job was to inspire us and to create an internal lack, that we feel that we are missing the core, the essence of our lives are not fulfilled until Mashiach comes, until God's will is fulfilled, until God's reign will reign on the earth and everything in between, and between the heaven and earth. So we, the Rebbe, try to inspire us to create a lack within ourselves. And that's what the Rebbe's job was in our generation, when we have everything, for us to say, no, I'm not content with myself. I'm not content with what I have. This is contrary to most of the popular ideologies out there. Be happy, be content with who you are, with what you do. Just everything's perfect and everything's beautiful. Says the Rebbe, no, don't be happy, don't rest. Don't rest even for a minute. We have a lot of work to do, and every moment in time is meant to be maximized, and that's our job. Anyway, that's the story. A synopsis of the Rebbe's Maimer. I'll share one more thought real quickly that I heard from Sheish Tab, which was very inspiring also, about a perspective. Like when we went to the Rebbe, people had their whole lives and they go through so many things. Then they would go to the Rebbe and they would write a story or ask a question, and in a flash the Rebbe would answer. Like, how would he know? How would he know anything about us? About people who he's never heard about or seen before? And suddenly, like, our whole lives are dependent on this one word of a Rebbe who never saw us. And it's happened hundreds of thousands of times, if not more. So Sheish explained something very beautiful. He said, in these levels of the soul, we have Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Yechida. Basically, when we connect with the Rebbe is a Neshama Klalis. It's a general soul that contains within it all of our souls. And when we connect with the Rebbe, we're connected to ourselves on the deepest level. And the Rebbe knows us because he knows himself. So when we go to the Rebbe today, how do we connect? There's no private audience Yechidus, but there's the Torah the Rebbe taught. We study his Torah, like we're doing right now. We go to the Rebbe's Ohel, we go to the gravesite, to the Tziyun, the Keter, and pray there. And we connect in doing what he asked to do. And the Rebbe said that's what a chassid does. Learns the Torah, does what he asks, etc. So he said, how does the Rebbe know about us, about ourselves? And he said, don't you have to go out and meet for coffee and sit in Starbucks for a couple hours or days until you get to know the person? He explained, he said, there's only one time in your life where you don't have to go out and meet people and get to know them. At the first glance, you know everything you want to know about them. You know when that is? That's at childbirth. When you are a parent and you give birth to a baby, you don't have to get to know that baby. At that moment, you know the baby and you love the baby, and the bond is as strong as it'll ever be. The Rebbe Sheish Taub explained, so too when a chassid connects with the Rebbe, the bond is instant and complete. That's the story for today. God bless you all. If you haven't yet been to the Rebbe's Ohel, it's about time. And hopefully he'll come back even before Shabbos, so we don't have to have another yard site. We'll have the Rebbe live. God bless you.